Power Extreme. Check it out. These are just in from Ramen Toy. They've been putting out some cool stuff. These are the 80s Commanders. This is the version 80s 3-pack because they did do a release of these previously in more real. They had different heads, they had different helmets, and they were in more realistic colors in that they were kind of a little more subdued, a little grunged up, a little dirty. And they redid a 3-pack. They sold them individually. These came as a 3-pack in the very bright, vibrant colors that the 80s toys came in. The bright green. They resculpted the heads to be more toy accurate. They resculpted the original version. The helmets were all identical, and you can see they've sculpted them now to be more accurate to the old toys and to be individual, unique from each other, which is really cool. They are a little on the smaller side. I knew what I was getting going in. These are not the 7-inch scale figures of the original toys, although they are doing some of the unreleased original toys in that larger scale coming up. And they may go back and redo these guys bigger. I don't know, but that would be cool. But I'm actually pretty happy with what I got here. You got Max Ray, Ace McCloud, and Jake Rockwell, the Centurions. They're working on the bad guys, the antagonist cyborgs, and the little magnetic cyborg people in this scale. So I'm looking forward to getting those as well for these guys to fight. But like I said, size-wise, they're roughly 1/12, roughly 6-inch scale. They are a smidge, just a smidge smaller than a Marvel Legends. There's Sleepwalker. Although, again, I saw pictures and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I got them in hand and they're actually pretty solid little figures. They are, what's the word I'm looking for? Like I said, they're smaller. Some of the plastic is a little, on the accessories, it's a little rubberier. Not in a bad way. It's not like a hard, brittle plastic. And that's nice because they didn't use snap fit pegs. And I remember when these were first announced, people were complaining and like, oh, what if it gets loose? But plugging these in to the ports, you can hear it kind of lock into place. Like they seem very secure. It doesn't seem like they're going to get loose. And also, they don't feel like they're going to break or potentially snap if they take a little bit of a jumble because they're actually, like I said, they've got a little bit of give to them. But yeah, tactilely, they're fun. Again, I wish they were a little larger just because I remember as a kid having like these big chunky guys. But then I saw some of the original toys recently, and again, it's because I was a little kid. Because they're still bigger, but even the original toys aren't quite as big and chunky as my brain made me remember them. Just because I was a much smaller when I was 7. But yeah, like I said, they're bright, they're vibrant, they're very cool. They all come with their accessories. And hopefully, if these do well enough, we'll get some more of the armor sets for them. That's really what I'm hoping for, because I never had a full set. I had Max Ray as a kid, but I never had the full set of 3. And I never had any of the extra armor sets that came out for him. So he may still be at my parents' house. I'll have to dig. I haven't looked for him in a long time. But anyway, a lot of fun, and they all come with their sets. Now, they don't have the action gimmick. On the old toys, you would put, like, say, this would plug in, and the center peg had like a rotational thing. So if you plugged this in and then plugged the missile launcher into this on the original toy, you could plug a fin or something into the front. And if you twist it, it would activate the missile launching gimmick. These don't have that spring-loaded gimmick or any of the movable parts, which again is a little disappointing, but pretty fun. The missiles are separate pieces that are kind of friction fit in there. But again, not going to fall out on its own. But yeah, you can attach all the pieces. I will say the one minor complaint on Max Ray is the way the armor works. Is designed down here on the legs. You can't get him on his feet to tilt quite enough forward to really support him with both the air tank and the missile launcher on his back the way the original toy did. But, I mean, like, I always thought, with the exception of the gimmick, I always thought it was silly to put the missile tank on his back anyway when you can attach it to his arm here. Because then he can actually use it. I mean, I guess you could use it from his back, but, you know. He's got his little gun. Got some little thrusters that can go on his feet. But they've got ports all over. You can rearrange this however you want. Although, again, you put too much on his back, he may fall backwards. And then the helmets, again, snap around the head. And there's Max Ray, all armored up, ready to take on some bad guys. They also come with extra hands. They each come with 5 extra hands. They have a saluting hand, so they can salute. And then they've got some grippy hands, and then some slightly more open splayed hands. And those just pop on and off right here at the wrist. Just pop one off, pop a new one on. There we go. And you're good to go. Posability, again, like for someone like Max Ray who swims, or Ace McCloud who flies, you can actually get them in a pretty decent range of motion to get them looking up. Oh, there we go. While they swim, which is cool. These are again, they're a little slightly softer plastic, so they'll move with the arm. Although you can get the arm in quite a decent range of movement without even interfering. It's only really once you come up like this that it starts to bend this. But again, it's soft plastic and folds right back down. But yeah, you got a dual hinge at the shoulder, a bicep swivel. You got dual hinge elbows here. Like I said, the neck's on a good ball joint, both at the top and bottom. So you got a good range of movement at the head. A waist swivel. There is a ball joint there at the hip. A thigh swivel. Dual hinge knees, which don't come all the way up, but a pretty decent range of motion. There is a separate piece there. And then a ball joint at the ankle. So there's Max Ray all armored up. But like I said, you can customize these things. Like Max has kind of I think looks the best in this kind of setup. Like I said, part of me wishes I could put the missile launcher on his back and have him stand, and that may just be a matter of maybe I could tighten those ball joints at the ankles. Although even then, it's not so much a matter of unless you can tilt those ankles forward. It's just so much back here because it's so chunky and solid. But anyway, there's Max Ray all armored up. Go ahead and get Ace McCloud with his stuff. And Ace is the one that I really have a lot of fun, playing around with how everything's attached. I didn't get his mask on all the way. There we go. I'll make sure it covers his chin. So he's got the backpack, and you can see right now I've got these missiles. This little gun can come off. You can put that on his forearm. I've got the missiles on the backpack, and the wings actually are geared together, so you can have them down or up. We'll go ahead and plug this into his back. Just like that, and again, very secure. Put his little jet turbines on his legs, although if you want to put them, Max wears his on his shins. I like to put Ace's on his thighs sometimes, but again, there's 2 ports up here, 3 ports down here, 1 on the upper arm, 2 on the lower arm. And then you can put his little front pack on to his chest. Like I said, you can raise the wings up like that. You could take these missiles, you could put them on his shoulders. I've seen some pictures of those like that. You can put them on his forearms, his forearm weapons. You could take this gun off and put this on his forearm. You can put this missile on the back. You can rearrange these however you want. You give them these. You put the missiles on the back and give them these 2 weapons as forearm weapons. You can take these guns off. You can really. He's the most fun, I think, to mix and match. I just think for the most part, a lot of his stuff really looks good just about anywhere you stick it. Obviously, with the backpack and the front piece there, you can rearrange all the weapons around however you want. That was in the middle there. There's Ace. And then Jake Rockwell. Now, Jake Rockwell has a little bit of the same problem as Max Ray. This antenna can come out. You don't have to have that antenna in his backpack, but it's right there. And then he's actually got 5 pegs on his backpack versus the 4 the other 2 do, and I'm not entirely sure why. Because I don't think it's not needed to make it any more secure on him. Oh, but his helmet actually has a green back, but that's again similar to the old stuff. Put his helmet on. Again, there we go. Make sure his head's all the way in there. And then missile launcher. You can store the missile launcher on his backpack. That does make him a little back heavy, although I have had more success getting him to stand properly with the missile launcher on his back, easier than Max. But again, it's not as hefty and chunky. But he's got, see, it's offset, so he's got some little pegs on his shoulders. You can plug this in up over his shoulder. The missile does friction fit in. It doesn't spring load or anything, but you can kind of squeeze it in there so it doesn't fall out. And he's got this weapon, which plugs into his chest a little awkwardly. And again, with the gimmick on the old toy, it kind of made sense. It just kind of sticks out the front of his chest there. And the way that pegs in, there's not a whole lot of options. I mean, you can plug it in different parts of his chest, but there's not a whole lot of options really that look good. If you plug it onto his arm, it's just going to stick out the side, which is weird. He also has this gun, which again, seems it's awkward sitting like this. I wish the peg had been like on the bottom, so it pegged onto his arm like that, or on the shoulder up here onto the backpack. But again, that's a flaw I've got to lay on. I think it was Galoob who made them back in the 80s, because that's just mimicking the old toy. And he's got a little searchlight that, again, you can plug in to his shoulder, or you can plug it, if you take the antenna out, you can plug it into his backpack, you can plug it onto his forearm. And what's nice about it is it is offset. It goes right here, but it does flip over. So if you want to have it, or you want to flip it around and put it on the other shoulder, it's offset there as well. Whereas the missile launcher, if you want to put it up on a shoulder, it has to go on this one, because if you put it over here, it's just going to jang into his head. But yeah, and there's Jake all ready to rocket launch some dudes. So yeah, I'm really kind of stoked about these guys. Like I said, they bring out, there's a lot of nostalgia. These colors specifically, like I said, the first set, it was a little grimy, and just too subdued for me. Like, part of the appeal of them was these bright colors, especially, again, maybe just because I had him, but especially with Max. I just remember that very bright, vivid green. Also, again, the head sculpts on the original weren't all that great, and then the helmets on the first releases were all the same helmet in different colors, with like but it didn't fit over the head sculpts. They all had like a generic head inside there that held, from what I understand, went inside the helmet, and these fit over the actual new sculpts. Now, if you ordered the first set and want the new head sculpts and the new unique helmets, they did release a set of just the heads and new helmets in the original colors, so you can get that for the original release figures. Now, they are still available. They're a lot more expensive now than they were on pre-order. Like almost $100 more expensive. So it's up to you to decide. You can get them from the Ramen Toy website. They're on Facebook. You can find their website there. You can just search Ramen Toy. I think it'll take you to that website as well, and I'll put it down there in the video description. And at the retail price, they're a little pricey for what you get. I like them. I'm happy with them. I'm going to find a place on my shelf for them. They are going to find a place front and center on my shelf, because I am absolutely quite smitten and very happy with these guys. They're bringing me a lot of endorphins in my brain this afternoon when these guys showed up and I got home and there they were on the porch, because I really have some nostalgia for these guys, like more than I thought I did when they first announced they were making new ones. So I'm glad to finally have them. I'm really happy with them. Like I do feel like if you have a very hot room, like again, the plastics is probably going to get a little bit more pliable, just because it is a slightly, especially on the accessories. The figures themselves seem pretty solid. Some of the early reviews I saw, I was slightly concerned that some of the joints would be too loose, and these so far, and I've been playing with them for the last few hours, have seemed to held up pretty well. And again, there's a center in my brain, so maybe I'm a little biased. That is, even just now looking at these guys and just being like I'm like a little 7-8-year-old kid again. But yeah, these guys are from Ramen Toy. They've got some cool new stuff coming out. They've got some unreleased original scale Centurion figures coming. They've got some Silverhawks coming. They've been teasing some mask vehicles, including Gloria Baker and her shark. So I'm very curious to see how those turn out, because if these are any indication, they're going to have a lot of 80s kid nostalgia coming down the pipeline, and I'm looking forward to seeing how those turn out. But these are the 80s Commander, the 80s version 3-pack from Ramen Toy. Very happy with them. I do wish a lot of you all could go back in time and get them at the pre-order price, because I think they're a much better deal there. But considering they're coming from a smaller toy manufacturer at this level of quality, I feel like I don't feel like they're overcharging. I just feel like sometimes we have an expectation of what money should buy based on how much toys have historically cost from mainline retailers, and that's one of those fandom arguments that I'm not going to change any minds on. I'm not looking to change any minds on. I'm just kind of rambling, but I'm very happy with them. I'm glad I got them. They're very cool. Ramen Toys 80s Commanders.